Hello, it's good to see you again, friends of Al-Kharid. And welcome, finally, to the Friends of Al-Kharid podcast. Number
What?
18, I
We're live?
think?
Really? It's working?
Yeah, I think we're actually live now.
Oh,
My
dear.
ISP decided to take a shit on me just as we were about to go live, so thanks for that, Klusner, you piece of shit. But yeah, as always, Interjection is with me.
Hello, my name's Interjection. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. Sorry about that. And for those of you watching on YouTube, you'll have to bear with this terrible quality. But thankfully, we're only really going to be showing still images on this. Today, I'll be introducing the one, the only founder of Team Cabbage. Here he is, Musher. How are you doing today?
Hey guys, yeah, pretty good, thanks. A bit better now that we've finally got this sorted, but
Yeah,
what can we
finally.
do? Technical issues.
57 minutes later so we're starting 57 minutes late, but no, well, we're here now, so thank goodness for that. Right,
Yes.
Geography teacher Glenn,
That is
because
me.
he's an old guy, had some tech issues. Old people don't really know what's going on. But what do we have coming up on the show?
Well then, we're going to go straight into the competitive. There have been quite a few changes with regards to the game in the last couple of weeks, and also card changes, so we'll be going through all of those. But first of all, that's a mess, we're going to jump into the competitive scene and look at the rank system to start with. We've got 4 people in Diamond already, and there's quite a few well-known names already up there. Psychopath, as usual, is one of the first ones up there. Whereabouts are you two on the ladder so far?
I don't know, like gold 20 or something.
Yeah,
gold
that's about what I
24.
am. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where did you end up last season? Because obviously we've had a season finish since the last podcast. So whereabouts did you two end up?
Okay, so that's a
No
funny
comment.
story. So the night before, right, season's ending in, I don't know, like 16 hours, whatever it is. I'm up there. I'm rank 3. And I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty happy about my position. I think I'm going to go through and get my top 10 spot.
Yep.
And I even made a video. So there is like a video of me being rank 3. And so I wake up. No, I go to bed and I'm rank 4. So I'm rank 4 when I go to bed. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. Some guys climbed above me, no problem. And then I go to bed. I wake up in the morning and I'm rank 5. I'm like, okay, that's all right. Rank 5 is, I'd rather be higher, but I can finish rank 5. That's fine. Like 15 minutes later, I'm rank 6. 5 minutes after that, I'm rank 7. Another 5 minutes after that, I'm rank 8. And I'm like, so sitting there half an hour later thinking, okay, now I'm rank 8 and I could be rank 9 any moment now. So I go to play a game. I'm like, right, I just need to win one game and then I'll jump back up to 4th or something like that. Because everyone was really close.
Yeah.
So I can attest for that. Like the top 10 that season was like one game away from jumping from like 8th to 4th. You know, you could climb like 8 ranks in 2 games. It was really close. Everyone had very, very close MMR, so very, very tight season there. But yeah, I actually lost that game due to a misclick.
That must have hurt so bad.
Yeah, I was, and it was like half an hour before I had to go to work. So I was like, right, I have half an hour to get back in the top 10. So what the misclick was is I was playing Miracle Ariane, the best deck currently, obviously, and we can talk about that later, I suppose. But yeah, I was playing Miracle Ariane, and I'm like, okay, I've won. I'm going first. Slam in my Earth Blast, press play right away. Except I did not click on the Earth Blast. And I did press play. And then I died to the Desert Snake or some shit like that. And
Oh no.
that was pretty disappointing. So after that, I then started queuing into just like endless plat 50s. And no offense to plat 50s, but they don't offer that much MMR when you win. And they offer, well, quite a lot when you lose. So that's a shame. And then also there was this like anti-Miracle Ariano Zen deck that runs like Black Marketeer, Drunken Dwarf, South Sea Pillager, and every fucking gold steal under the sun. So I lost to that a few times and then ended up finishing about rank 17, I think. So, and that's when I had to go to work. And I thought,
I was going to say, I've got a similar story to you. I can attest to how tight the league was, because I went to bed the night before, rank 7. It might have been even 6. Then I woke up, and obviously I had work the next morning. So I woke up at 6 o'clock in the morning, and I was rank 10. No, I was rank 11.
yeah,
I was rank
yeah,
11.
I woke up and not on the top 10. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, Glenn's gone.
I was going to say, 6 o'clock in the morning, I woke up and I was rank 11, and I had time for one game before work. So I queued into a game, it was a Lindsay, and I thought, oh no, I'm Miracle Ariane. That's not a good matchup against Weapon Lindsay. I managed to play 2 chapters. He bricked and didn't play anything. I won, got up to rank 2 from rank 11.
Yeah.
And then
you 1 win straight.
1 win was 11 to 2.
Bloody hell.
And then I ended up dropping to, I think, 4, but for the or something like that. It was something mad. Oh, it was horrible.
Yeah, put it this way, I was really like all day at work. I was just like, grrr. But congratulations! I think it was Sean or someone like that who finished first last season. So congratulations to Sean, whoever he might be. I've not heard of him before, but well played to the guy. And the guy who finished rank 2, I can't remember his name. I can easily find it out though. He did it with Goblin Morvaran. So there's certainly some decks that aren't necessarily thought of as being strong decks that are getting people certainly up in the high ranks. So really, the meta game looking reasonable at the moment, though I do think, with that tier list video I made, Miracle Ariane and Honest Raptor are the 2 decks that most of the top players are favoring and are most of the decks that are being played the most in Diamond at the moment. So that kind of concludes top 10 from last week.
Yep.
And do you have a picture of that to show? If so,
no, I haven't got that with me because I completely forgot there was an end of season while I was setting this up. So,
but I'm sure someone will.
I think I was going to say one thing to point out. Sorry,
I saw him.
Yeah, he's got 2 accounts there. He actually ended up with 2 accounts in the top 10.
Yeah, he did Psychopit and Psychopet. He's got another one as well.
Yeah, Psychopet. He was also in Diamond, but I'm not quite sure what rank.
Yeah. So, and he did that on all of them separately without
any win trading.
Without any funny business. So, well played to the guy. Really, if he's able to get lots of top 10s, the more the merrier, I guess. And here he is, rank 1 on this new leaderboard. Anything to add, Musher? What do you think?
I'll be honest, I didn't play much last season, so I can't really add much other than I was just playing on this Raptor because Miracle Ariane is a bit annoying to play against if you don't just try and gain armor. So.
Yeah. Well, I think Miracle Ariane is even actually quite. When I go up against Honest Raptor, I don't think, oh god, Honest Raptor, I can't kill them. They have too much life because. As it turns out, Death and Fire Surge and Earthwave and even Earth Blast are really good cards.
Yeah, I just hope that they don't have Fire Surge normally because you can't play around everything, so you either play around or you switch to double Earth Blast.
I think the optimal number of Fire Surges to run is 1. Any more than that, I think it's overdoing it. But just in a lot of matches, even against Morvaran, it's just a good card because they do get armor off quite a number of things, young cow fights, unicorns, lots of stuff. Armor, even Mithril Dragons are floating around nowadays. So I don't think it's I do think 1 Fire Surge is actually is actually pretty good, which is a weird world to be living in because I remember all that time ago we were Fire Surge sucks, and then
it's a bad card. It's just 3 gold, 3 gold for a conditional bad health damage.
Yeah, no one liked it at all. But it's actually not too bad now. It's
as part of that combo, it works.
Yeah.
I think in itself, it's still not necessarily a great card, but because it's part of a massive health damage combo, it does kind of work.
It goes up in value enormously if you are running Death, because you can go something like Death Fire Surge, which is a combo in and of itself, or you can go Death Fire Surge Earthwave, or whatever it is you want to do. It's actually pretty good. But yeah, as you mentioned, I think we should talk about the current top 10 here. We've got 4 people in Diamond, one of which is Psychopat. I was playing him earlier on his Diamond promotions, I think.
Did you let him in? Yeah,
I think I let him in. That was a good game. I won't talk about it. But yeah, and congratulations to everyone else who has put in the time to get up this high there. So that's good.
Yep. Right, we have some news from the League system.
Baby, we have some news. Oh, okay, League. All right, fine. We'll talk about League.
Yes.
We have some news coming up, though, and I'm looking forward to talking about that.
We have completed all the playoffs from the Season 3 of the RS Chronicle League. As you can see from that on screen, Interjection has defeated Freeb 3-2 in the final, so he is Season 3 Grand Champion. So dethroning Unforgiven finally. So I was watching that on stream. There was a really good set of 5 games between the two.
Yeah, they were some really close games.
You were 2-0 up and then 2-2.
Yeah, I started with I started with Miracle Ariane and Honest Raptor and won both those games in a row. And it was at that point I've used both of my exceptional decks, and now I've just got to play with other decks, and he still had both of his available. So he clawed it back to a 2-2 score, and then the final game was really interesting. Actually, it was Aggro Venescula versus Grief Linzer. I actually don't think that match was too bad at all, and it came down to the wire. Actually, one of the games before that, I think I played some sort of hybrid Ozan deck, and that ended on 1 HP. Really nice set of games. I'll put them on my YouTube channel actually.
Yeah, that'd be good to watch.
Sorry, Freeb, but now I'm getting my T-shirt.
And obviously we finished the Open League playoffs, and Dankus Memes won the Open League tournament. The Top Rat and Scouser have also been promoted to the Premier Division, so the new season 4 will actually be starting after the next tournament that Ryan and myself are hosting, and that leads me very nicely into the next one, and that is the 2v2 tournament, which I believe you're both signed up for. And I'm really looking forward to this. There's some really strong teams.
My teammates cheating on me. I've been spurned by Unforgiven.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I signed up as a team. I wanted to be Team Meme, spelled like T-E-M-E, like Team Meme, like Teamy Meme. Like I thought that would be good, but it looks like Unforgiven is going to be playing on other Team Meme with YX. So I feel pretty bad about that, but. Yeah, I'll be looking to compete in the 2v2 tournament.
Yeah.
What is it all about then? Do you want to explain the format? Because Chronicle is not a 2v2 game. You can't play 2v2. I don't to somebody just what on earth is this? How does this work?
Okay, so basically, if you've got to find yourself a partner, and sign up on the challenge website. I will post a link very shortly. So the way it will work, you will assign yourself either player A or player B before the tournament even starts, and then you'll be drawn against another team. Player A from Team 1 will play player A from Team 2. Player B will play player B. If both the players from one team win their best of 5s, then that team wins and goes through. If one player from each team wins their match, then those two winners will play off against each other to decide which team goes through.
Oh, okay.
So it is actually possible for one person in your team to lose every game they play and you still win the tournament. So,
but obviously you stand a much better chance if they actually do win some games.
Yes,
I like the format. That is interesting.
Yeah,
what we're saying, Glenn, is that Ryan is going to have to do a lot of backpacking.
No. I've already told Ryan to get on my back.
Pick up on his shoulders,
I've already told Ryan to get on my back.
All right. You're going to be okay.
Yeah, we've had 13 or 14 teams sign up so far. There's room up until 32 teams. So if you haven't got a partner, post on the Reddit thread that you're looking for on, and then obviously you can message people in there. There's plenty of people who are saying, "Oh, I need a partner." So yeah, there's plenty of spaces around. I know a lot of people are interested in signing up for this.
Yeah, I heard Vegard and
yes, Vegard and Genesis.
That's it. Vegard and Genesis signed up. They're two of the mods on the server team, or two of the mods certainly working on Chronicle. So that's nice to see. And still some slots left. Do get yourself signed up to that, and it should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to it.
Yep. So we're going to look to try and start this in about a week and a half's time. So you got a little bit of time to sign up still.
Yeah, I'm noticing Jag's comment about the quality there. Why didn't you just put the text in? It's a shame that we do have to stream in this quality, but if you want to see the Reddit post, there'll be a link.
Yeah.
Well, on Reddit certainly, maybe in the description if you're watching this on YouTube. But what's coming up next then?
Right. So since the last podcast, there's been a couple of quite nice updates. And then there's another one planned for it was hopefully going to be today, but it's been delayed because they found a bug. So hopefully that will be Monday now. But so
Mush is just we're just yapping away, and he's just drinking in the background.
Right.
Well, I mean, I've got to represent for the Northerners. So
yeah, the first update we had was chat. So Musher, what's your early impressions of the new chat system?
It's PogChamp. Am I right?
Global chat can really need some form of never show this button, because in all honesty, I think it's terrible.
Okay.
I like being able to private message people, but I don't like automatically being opted into a global chat. I'd like an option to either turn that on or turn it off, depending on how it started.
You don't have to look at it though.
Yeah, but if you open chat, it's the first thing that pops up.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Musher maybe would like the toggle option, and certainly that is functionality that could be added. But I actually really like it. RuneScape has this social side to it where you just go and stand at the G and chat to people, or you're making your fires, or you're cooking in Rogue's Den, whatever it is you're doing. You just talk to randomers there, and you can have some nice conversation. I think Chronicle was really missing that sort of global chat feature. It gives people a platform to ask for help on, or maybe they're dungeoneering, they're not sure what card to pick. You can just ask. It's just nice for kind of meeting people, like this conversation I mentioned, and I think it's just a good thing to have in Chronicle. And in the future, maybe we'll see a global chat too if things start getting busy. It doesn't look like that at the moment, but I really like it. And not to mention that you can talk to your friends, and it has every time they send you a message, it pops up whilst you're playing the game, so you can see when they black marketeer your Earth Blast and it doesn't resolve, and then they're like ha ha ha, and then you can it makes the game feel so much more interactive, because they can explain oh, thought you'd do this, so I moved it up a slot, and then you can you might not necessarily have known that the thoughts behind their play, but when they then explain it to you because of something, and it just feels like the game's much more interactive. It feels like the game is much more strategic, and you get to see that. You get to see the inner workings of people talking. I just really like the chat feature. Yeah. I just think Chronicle was such a lonely game until this came out. I was going
to say, without Discord and things like that, I agree with you. It would have. I don't think I'd have stayed with it if there wasn't the Discord community and things. It's quite a big thing. I mean, I honestly, when it first got released, I was against the idea of a global chat. I didn't think it was needed. I thought it would just descend into complete cancer, but it hasn't yet. So it's not on as bad as I think. There's a couple of things they could do with tidying up. So when you're in a game, it blocks out the right hand 2 cards if you've got a full hand. Which if you play Miracle Around, you know the feel. A
lot of the time, though, it's not really a problem. And I imagine I wonder if that probably gets worse on particular resolutions. Yeah. On 1080p, it's quite bad.
Overall,
it's not on 800 by 600. I can confirm.
Okay, I think they've done a really good job. It's as a design, I really like it.
It's very slick.
It's been really well implemented. I like it. It's taken a little while, but you can see the time and effort that's gone into this.
It looks good, but to be honest, at the end of the day, who gives 2 flying shits what we think? We don't have degrees in game development or anything like that. So, the big takeaway here is that we think it looks nice and that it's functional and useful. So that's good, right? Aside from that, what else is there to say? It's chat, and it's good. Good good addition to Chronicle.
Yes, and then this leads us on to the update that was due out today, and is actually now going to be Monday, and that is the Mac client. So I don't think this actually affects any of us 3, because we're PC Master Race. But it will help a lot of people who have been waiting very patiently to play Chronicle. Now they will be able to.
Yeah, Mac is, I don't know how many users there are on Mac, but there's certainly going to be a number of them, and just the ability to now play it on Mac. Now, when I first saw this, I was like, oh, iPhone release? But no, it's actually
that's
Apple
the
Mac
dream.
Computers. Yeah, it will come to iPhone eventually, absolutely. Yeah. But for now, now that's, I haven't necessarily noticed an influx of new players, but there probably has been. So that's
it's Mac is on Monday. It's not happened yet.
Oh, all right. Well, there's that then, and it's at the start of a new season as well, which is nice. It's always nice to bring new players in at the start of the season. I think that's healthy to do, and the Mac client is going to do that. So that's why I haven't noticed an influx. Hopefully we will do.
Yes.
I mean, anything that can increase the amount of players, anything that increases the player base is going to be good for the game.
For any game.
So.
Yeah.
Always.
But so that leads us on to the main bulk of what we wanted to talk about tonight, and that is
here we go.
The multiple card changes.
And the resistance to those card changes.
If the first load of nerfs that happened was the nerf apocalypse, this is Buffgate.
Okay. But you had a Nerfgate video.
I had a nerf apocalypse.
Okay. Oh no, it was Ryan.
Ryan had Nerfgate, yeah.
Okay, this is Buffgate.
But so we're going to start off going through the potions, then we're going through the pirates, and then we're going to go through the 3 nerfs that they proposed, and they've actually confirmed all of these
revisions
changes now.
too.
I've got the original.
And you need the nerfs as well to like Firewatch and stuff,
Yeah,
but we'll come on to that later. So anti-fire potion.
Yes,
I want to
let's
start
start.
by saying I did create a video where I did part 1. Effectively, I did potions, and I was going to do a part 2, but the video didn't get a very good reception, and I wanted to spend my time doing something more productive, like deck guides or something. So I didn't bother. I thought, okay, I'll just cover the other half of the cards on the Friends of Al-Kharid podcast. So that's effectively my part 2. This is part 2. If anyone was interested, I'll link to this in that particular video as well. But anti-fire potion, what I said in my video is that this card in a vacuum is a very, very strong card now, because it's effectively enfeeble and almost a cabbage for free. So you don't discard. So it's enfeeble and cabbage all in the same card without discard. The only drawback and problem is that obviously it only works on dragons, which if you search in the collection, dragons, there aren't really that many that this would be used on outside of Mithril Dragon, which would be all right, but it wouldn't be that good. And then was it KVD, which wouldn't be very good at all. Like,
I think Undead Dragon's possible. Like,
yeah,
but it's not a
dragon, because it's not a dragon.
Oh, it's undead, right?
Yeah. If it were a dragon, right? If they made it undead and a dragon, it doesn't necessarily have to have both tags. But if it actually was both, right? Like that would be so cool. I see no reason why not to do that.
Yeah.
And anti-fire potion would be a really good card.
It would bring another option into the game, I think. There's no reason why it shouldn't, I don't think. As you say, if you just look at the card without thinking about anything else in the game, then yes, it looks like a very decent card, because it's only a dragon, and you look at the dragons, it's absolutely terrible still. So I don't know if by buffing this, they've not actually made it any more playable at the moment. But it might turn out in the future, when they release more dragons, to then be OP.
Yeah, like it's certainly a lot better than it was. Like it needed a change, right? One final thing to mention is that if you anti-fire potion into KBD with like even say 4 or 5 base attack, it's still just better to kill Zilliana without anti-fire potion. And I did the maths on the video, but yeah, that's anti-fire potion. What is our next potion, I guess?
Well, Musher, start us off with this one. Unstable Concoction. Now, the version I've got on the screen is the original proposal, which is spend 1 potion and deal 9 damage. They've actually toned this down to 7 damage now. So, what are your thoughts on this, Musher?
I'll be honest, I like it. I'm not sure if there's going to be an aggro deck that wants to run potions, but if there is, this is like the new Barkatoid, right? So, I think it's good. It's certainly got some times that you would play it. Maybe even if it's just in the Narian deck that ran Restore Potion, and then you've also run Unstable Concoction. Then you've got 4 potions. Sorry, with Mind Bomb as well. You've got 6 potions. Maybe put Mambo in. Got some extra damage, some extra creature buffs.
Yeah, I think
seems fine.
That's the interesting point, right? It goes much better in the potion deck now, and it's like not as bad as it was before. Because 5 damage and discard a card was really bad.
Yep.
9 damage and discard a card, or discard a potion more specifically, which is basically a card. And yes, they're adding ways to draw potions much more easily, so it's not really like discard a card. But it is kind of, at least in the current meta, without like the Cake Meeks and the Chaos Druid that is being also buffed, which we'll talk about in just a moment. But I think 9 damage is where it ought to be. I think spend 1 potion for 9 damage ought to be that, and they, as you mentioned, Glenn, they nerfed it down. They revised the change to 7 damage. I think is that correct?
Yeah, it's down to 7.
And I think this is going in the wrong direction. Like 7 damage is not good enough. I don't think that will make the cut, because Unstable Concoction, right? Okay, let's say you play your Chaos Druid or your Cake Meeks, whatever it is, and you're going to draw 3 potions off of those. They basically draw 3 potions now. Like, okay, so you do that, and then you play Unstable Concoction. That's a 2-card combo, which is 4.5 damage per slot, and it's costing you a gold because you're spending 1 gold on Unstable Concoction. It's a janky 2-card combo at that point, right? And just playing Troll Chuckers or Werewolf Rebel or Haunted Leech or any other kind of similar size 3-drop or 3 health kind of creature is just going to be better, right? But that's not the point, because you get to play 2 Unstable Concoctions, and you also have some more potions to spend. So you could then play 3. Like, you could play your Chaos Druid, Unstable Concoction, and now that's 6 damage per slot over those 3 slots. That's getting much better. That's where I think it ought to be, right? that's now like actually conceivably better. It's actually, since it is a combo, you do have to draw these potions. You have to play Cake Mix or Chaos Druid, which is going to take the place of your Krasian Warrior, presumably. Then, but now that it's been nerfed down to 7 damage, I just don't think that's good enough, and I don't think it will.
I still think it's going to be a decent card. Like, already, as it is already, it's already played. It does see play in a lot of people's decks. And I can see this being used as an alternative form of damage in different variants of Ariane. Not necessarily Miracle. Like there was a 3 AP version of Ariane before Miracle got popular that Dankus memes started, or I saw him running before anyone else, that ran a lot of damage. Just damage cards straight up, so Deathloaded Assassin, Haunted Soul, things like that. And I think this kind of thing would, I think this. It does
fit that. But Glenn, that was before Aggro Venescula became popular, which is just a superior version of.
Yes, but with Aggro Venescula getting a nerf with Rad Cannoneer and Firewatch, perhaps there's then room for this kind of deck to come back.
Yeah, but I don't.
The other possibility.
Go on, Musher.
All I was going to say is the other possibility is that because, like you say, Rowdy Cannoneer is getting changed, suddenly people aren't going to run Rowdy Cannoneer and Barkatoad. If you're just looking at a 1-for-1 replacement, perhaps putting in 2 potions or 2 potion generators and 2 unstable concoctions, is your new possibility, right?
Yeah, but you can't just run 2 unstable concoctions. You'd have to run the flasks as well, because I think you should move on to flask so that we can actually see that.
Well, I was going to say, I'll get it up on the screen at the same time, actually.
So I think, like, okay, yes, you have the replacement. I still think, but Venescula will always be the queen of that 3 base attack style deck where you kill those efficient creatures, like, for example, Troll Chucker, Werewolf Rebel, Haunted Leech. She has so fucking many of them. Like, it's such a good deck, and I can't see anything really trumping that until something is done about that. Really, maybe where the opponent needs a change. I think that might be the case, but. Sorry, I know it's something over almost, but yeah. So we now have Crystal Flask on stream, which is getting better, and like given the unstable concoction is getting worse, okay, maybe it's palatable. Maybe you can still run the deck, but I don't know. Like people are mentioning Miracle Ariane. These are now really good cards in Miracle Ariane. I don't think that's true.
I'm not sure because you don't want to Essentially, this is a discard, and you don't want to discard in Miracle.
Yeah, and you also don't want to run fucking Cake Mix. You draw 3 potions, which are just like completely useless duds that only work on your unstable concoction and Crystal Flask. And yeah, maybe like obviously you'd use it a lot of the time as well to activate your Earth Blast to get your hand size up to scratch. But if you're running Cake Mix, then presumably you're not running Burnt Meat, you're replacing actual card draw with pseudo card draw, which means you will not be drawing through your deck. And in a Miracle deck, you have to draw through your deck to find the kill cards. If you're running Cake Mix, then you won't find your Earth Blast. You won't find your deck. You won't find your Earth Blast. Sorry, your Earth Wave.
Yeah, I can see the only way you would want to play Cake Mix is if you could spend those potions straight away because you need room to cycle through your deck. And I don't think you can rely on it, actually. Like I was one of those who thought that Cake Mix could potentially fit in it. I think it might. I'm going to have to do some testing with it. But yeah, I share the same concerns as you. What were you going to say, Musher?
I just think this gives rise to a different type of Ariane deck. Like, I think Miracle will still be a thing. And, perhaps this brings around, a deck that tries to get people with Mambo. Like, it's not going to be good against Miracle because of that, which is an issue. But if Miracle falls out for some reason, if it falls out of the meta and suddenly it becomes more AP sustain-based, then suddenly Papa Mambo is a good option.
And I agree with you there. I think that's exactly the kind of deck it would go into. Something that isn't like a Miracle deck, that isn't an AP deck, but it still runs like support cards, kind of. I'm not. Yeah, the potion deck. I feel like that will be a deck in and of itself, and I don't think this fits very well into Miracle Ariane. But we'll see.
Yeah, the one thing to note: Crystal Flask is actually going to be gain 8 health, not 9. They've revised that one down. But we're going to move on to the best potion in the game, and it's getting a buff to make it even better. Explosive Potion.
Oh, baby.
This is still trash, but at least it's not trash that costs.
Well, at least you can pick it in Dungeoneering now as like and at least like if you do end up picking it in Dungeoneering, you can actually play it without a detrimental effect happening, which would be spending 2 of your hard-earned gold for a completely useless effect.
Mm-hmm.
And don't get it is pretty useless. Like removing a random location from your rival's deck. At the moment, there aren't any decks that are in constructed at least where a location and removing that would be like a worthwhile thing to do in a slot. Here's your gold now. At least if you can play this in Dungeoneering and you'll actually gain something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do feel I said this in my video that this could easily have been 2 gold reward on it, and then maybe it would see some play in some decks. But at that point, really, it's just a strictly better Black Arm Bandit for Miracle Ariane. That completely misses the point of the potion and the effect the potion has. It'd be run primarily as gold gain at that point, which is not what this card should be. Maybe it should discord this. Like it just needs to do more. It's still not very compelling, but at least it's like it's really funny to say, like a 3 gold swing in the cost direction. It's literally been swung the other way by 3 gold,
and it's still bad.
Yeah.
That's how bad the effect is.
What do you think, Glenn and Musher, though? What else could Explosive Potion do? Clearly, it's not gold gain, as I just mentioned, but like I had the idea that perhaps it could destroy both locations. Like maybe it picks a wilderness out the deck and destroys them both. Because if you go to a place and you're like, haha, Roseanne, I'm going to destroy the wilderness, and you Explosive Potion the wilderness and it blows up, and then you lose it for a gold. And he's like, oh, now I can't go to the wilderness anymore. That would make sense. Destroy both the wildernesses in his deck because he blew up the wilderness, right? I'm gonna kind of. What would you do?
I'm gonna kind of throw this at. Well, Musher, do you play RuneScape much at all, or have you?
I used to, yeah.
You're gonna know more than me. I was gonna say, what is it?
Unless I'm thinking of the wrong thing, this was thrown at some kind of fish type things to kill them, right?
I was pretty sure this was used in Castle Wars to destroy the barricades and to destroy the rocks down the bottom, in the sort of the dungeon part of Castle Wars. That's what the Explosive Potion was, I thought.
I think you're right. I think Soul Wars it was actually.
Yeah, but like, what would you change about this? Like, Gothgar says, remove all locations. That would certainly make it a lot better.
Remove all locations from your rival's collection. Yep, that's nice.
It's just okay. So for those collections, destroy a random diamond card from your rival's collection.
I'd run it.
So I think, like, for those wondering, like, what it gives you 1 gold. What's the problem with playing this? It's the opportunity cost, right? Like, you could play something else that just does so much more for you. Just like in Chronicle, you can only play 20 cards in a match, and that's providing you use every slot, which you often don't. Then, like, this has to be meaningful. When you play it, it has to do something like worthwhile. And at the moment, even this new Explosive Potion does not do that. What would you guys change about it to make it that worthwhile card that you might want to play whilst keeping the theme intact?
I don't like the design of the card, to be honest. I don't think removing locations is ever something that you're going to want to do. Like, I think as a card, sorry, I'll rephrase that. I think as a card, the design is fine. I just don't think it's ever really going to have a place anywhere.
Yeah.
I think it's just kind of one of those filler cards, that inevitably every card game needs.
Yeah, and that's fine, right? It's a basic card, so who really gives a shit? It's free. You don't have to unwrap this pack and then feel sad about it. So there is that. But I think we spent enough talking about this. Like, how much discussion does this piece of crap
yeah, exactly. Right. The next 2 I'm actually going to put up at the same time, because I've got a couple of things I want to say about these, and that's Cake Mix and Chaos Druid. So
yeah, I like these.
Yeah, well, then they're not exactly underpowered anymore.
No, they're not.
I think they might have gone a little bit too far with these.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I want to hear why. I'm not necessarily... Okay, go.
Well, we were talking about potentially Miracle Ariane earlier. The one thing in favour of adding Cake Mix into Miracle Ariane would be that it would enable Papa Mambo. It's another support. There's no other setup required, so it would strengthen that deck even further. Depending on how the draws work, I need to test it, but there's the potential. But generally, if you've got a couple of flex slots in decks, which a lot of decks have, throw this and Papa Mambo in. There could be Mambos everywhere. I think, as much as we want more, and I do want more creature interaction, I don't necessarily think we should be making Papa Mambo any easier than it already is.
I don't know. I like the threat. I think there's an interesting meta to be had there, Glenn, where
Yeah.
every single chapter you're like, oh shit, they could Papa Mambo here, and then cards like Jad, which are supposed to be really risky. Like I always think like when that Jim and Merchant and all the other J mods sat down, they were like, Jad, what could this be? Oh, a massive 15/7 creature. If you don't want to take a hit off that, and in RuneScape you really don't want to take a hit on it. You have to be very, very careful in RuneScape when fighting that with your prayers, at least in old school RuneScape. And like that flavor comes into Chronicle. I feel like it was always supposed to be risky, so maybe people will start taking it out of their deck. I feel like in a meta game where Papa Mambo's floating around all of the time, you can't run Jad. Like I think that's a perfectly fine thing to be the case. I don't think every AP deck should be able to unconditionally put Jad in every single time and just like that's the shell. Like I think some thought ought to be there, and I think it will be a healthy meta game where Papa Mambo's floating around. It's not you're not going to take too much extra damage against like Ogre Warlords and stuff when they get Papa Mambo.
I was going to say like creatures that have got high health and lower attack, they're going to be much less risky to play.
Yeah, and like maybe
issue.
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, so now this is just with Chaos Good, so it's a slight diversion. So if you want to finish what you were saying first, and then go back to it.
Carry on.
No, I think I'm finished.
All right.
About what you're saying.
Now, why does Chaos Good now give armor? That's my main question, because it's given 3 potions and 3 armor, and even if you hit it on 2 base, you're taking 4. So you're only netting 1 loss, and then you can just use the water that you got to heal that back, and it's
I'm
break
sure,
even. And you get 2 potions.
You're not genuinely thinking about playing water. I was going to say, just in case, you're
not serious, are you?
I have got water.
I'm semi-serious, because you only need 2 potions for Mambo, right? So...
Oh, yeah, so you're just going... Yeah, but like there's other spend effects. Like, you know this. We just saw Unstable Concoction. Obviously, I know that you know this, but like... Yeah, like that deck's not just going to run Papa Mambo. You'll want the potions for almost every other spend effect under the sun. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I just think the 3 armor on top of 3 potions is too much. Like I'd play it in a potion deck without the 3 armor.
Yeah.
Does it really need 3 armor on it?
Well, I do wonder if it would be good without the 3 armor, because like people don't want to run janky 2-card combos. 2-card combos are very, very janky. Currently, there is a very, very strong 2-card combo in the form of Rowdy Cannoneer and Barker Toad, but that particular combo is exceptional because Rowdy Cannoneer is good on its own almost, comes with card like hand grief, like putting a cannonball in your opponent's hand. You don't ever notice it when you play it, but it can be surprisingly frustrating to have that cannonball in your hand.
Yep.
And, it just does 4 damage as well. And then you get to play an exceptionally strong card, which is Barker Toad. I don't think, that particular combo is too strong, and we'll talk about that later. But I do wonder if Chaos Druid would still be good, because there are other 2-card combos in the game. For example, I was running a Morvaran deck which ran Abyssal Demon without any other kind of demons, but all I wanted was to exhaust myself and get 2 gold. I thought that was good enough utility in and of itself, because I could then play Balm, right? And I thought that was a good combo, and it does work. It is nice. It's not too bad, but it's still a 2-card combo. It's very janky, and I just don't like that about the Demon Morvaran deck generally. Like, it's just so janky as a combo. And I do wonder, potions are going to suffer the same thing. You have to find the Chaos Druids early on. You have to play them early on to get the potions, and the combos are they're not that good, especially now they're nerfing Unstable Concoction for no reason, and the other one as well. Because you have to play at least 2 of those spend cards before the Chaos Druid gets good, right? Otherwise, it's not worth playing. It's just you could have played a Krasian Warrior instead, which is always going to be better. I think
most
it really
of the time
does
you do want to draw from your deck rather than random potions, don't you?
Yeah. So firstly, you have to play Chaos Druid early to get the potions in your hand, so that you have them in your hand to play the spend effects, right? Then you have to play at least 2 of the spend effects before the value of actually running this deck is even paid off. Once you've paid for all 3 spend effects, you've spent all 3 of those potions, that's when the value's really good. But you have to find the Chaos Druid and do that, and that's really janky. Just playing the Krasian would be better, and running some other agenda would be better, I feel, a lot of the time. I think that 3 armor is actually needed for Chaos Druid to be good, especially now that they're nerfing the other 2. So I'm an advocate for the 3 armor. I think it wouldn't be too good otherwise.
I think it becomes not really good, but in Dungeoneering, I think it's now a lot more playable.
Yeah,
because
definitely.
because essentially what you need to do when it comes to things like potions in Dungeoneering is go, what is my average outcome? If rate all of the potions out of 10 and then think, right, what is my average outcome? And before you only get one potion, but now you're getting 2, and you're guaranteed a water, which isn't great, but hey, it's one heal if you need it. At least
it's not a brick.
It's almost as bad. It is a brick. It's basically tainted cabbage. Like, you don't ever want to play this. You almost always have something else that you'd rather play, I feel. And Chaos Druid is that interesting. Like, you might be low on life and like, oh, I need 3 armor. I think 3 armor will be useful. And then you get these 3 potions. And yeah, Musher, some of them might be useful, but a lot of the time, none of them will be useful. And you'd rather spend your gold on something else. And at that point, it's like, well, I've got 7 cards in hand. I want my 3 armor, but if I get my 3 armor, I now have 10 cards in hand, and I won't draw anything at the start of the next chapter. You have to remember those shitty potions are sometimes just going to brick your hand up.
Well, I think one thing just to round this off. What are your thoughts on water as an idea, as a card? Musher, what do you think?
I like the idea of it. I don't think it's a good card, but if it was a good card, the cards would be broken, right? So yeah, I think I like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like the way the game is going, where there's more conditional cards. Dependent on you having certain things. I'd like more where it depends on your opponent's stats or what your opponent is doing as well. That would be more interesting. What about you?
Oh, water.
No, not necessarily water itself, but I mean more cards like that use things like water.
Oh yeah, I like a long time ago, back in closed beta, I think there was the idea floating around. I posted a Reddit post with a bunch of spend effects in it.
This was your massive potion post.
There was a potion, I had I don't know, like in RuneScape, for those that don't know, brewing potions is a thing you can do. And basically in Chronicle, you can have I don't know, Limpwort root, and you play your Limpwort root and it says spend 1 water and add a super strength potion to your hand, something like that, right? So basically you could use I think that's what these waters are for. They are potions that you can spend with the current spend effects, but also in the future, I think I like to think water will be something you use with other cards to brew a potion, and then you add a special, really strong potion to your hand. I think they're just adding design space to the game. And yeah, I think that's cool if they are going to do that. And certainly it could be something for water, but at the same time, it could just remain this little spendy potion thing that you don't really want to play, but 1 life is sometimes meaningful and worthwhile. Yeah, I like it.
Yep. Right, so that...
There is one thing to mention.
Yeah.
Sorry, just before we finish this, as Scouser mentioned in the chat, water is a potion, so all of the add random potion cards that add water can also add more waters.
Yeah, they can.
So yeah,
but it's just 1 potion.
Yeah, it has slightly nerfed the random potion draw, but minimally.
But has it though? A lot of the random potions are a lot of potions are really overcosted or are completely useless. Dragon fire potion.
Actually, yeah, because water is going to be better than anti-fire potion. No.
Yeah, it doesn't cost.
Yeah, it doesn't cost.
Explosive potion.
Explosive potion.
I'd rather have water. Yeah.
Well, if you get those ones for free, they're not too bad. You do get 3 life off dragon fire, but they're all a lot better now. Maybe that was the idea. Make them better if you get them randomly, and that's fair enough. Yep. But yeah, a lot of the time playing water will actually. I think the value of water is probably the same value as anything else that you could get. Sometimes it might be better. I don't know.
Yeah. Right. So that finishes off the potions for the potion balance changes that are coming in on Monday, and we're going to move on to the pirates. Now, this is why we've brought Musher in. We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Pirate expert.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. But the first card, I'm a little bit sad to see this buffed. I quite enjoyed having Cabin Boy as the worst card in the game. I mean, it's still not great, but yeah, we're now gonna have to find a new meme.
I think it's good in a very specific deck that I'm not going to go into now because, quite frankly, that might take a bit of time. But
where on the tier list would you place this deck? You're thinking, is it a tier 1 deck like Miracle Ariane? I'm sure it's not, but
I'll tell you what, it actually beats Miracle Ariane, but it doesn't beat anything else.
It does actually.
Yeah.
Okay, so the deck Mush is secretly talking about is this discard absolutely everything from your rival's hand deck with chain shot cannons and all of those kind of things. We won't talk about it any more than that, and that deck is good against Miracle Ariane. And maybe Cabin Boy is good in that. That's something Mush has been trying out. But on a serious note, right, Cabin Boy, old Cabin Boy at least, was so bad, and it was just this everything about it was a negative effect. You'd pay 1 gold to discard a card and then add
Dilute
6
your deck.
pieces of trash to your deck. So you dilute your draw. So you're just drawing worse cards because you put like useless pieces of shit into your deck. Like the new Cabin Boy is much better, but I do wonder if it's good enough. Like with Lady Zay in its current form, I don't think 2 Cannonballs has that much utility. And then the only other reason you want Cannonballs, right, is Barker Toad or
Change your cannon.
Well, I will get that up at the same time, actually.
I just wonder, like maybe Cannonballs need more stuff, right? Like maybe you need more things to spend with. Like why doesn't like the Adventurous and Ghost Ship cost Cannonballs instead of gold, right? Like surely, like in the same way that Lady Zay costs Cannonballs. Like I think that like just add more things for Cannonballs, but. Basically what it is 0 gold, you gain 2 Cannonballs, but I wonder how well that compares to like Pirate's Hideout. And like I don't know, like even if it were like the problem is there's just not enough to spend the Cannonballs on. I'm sure that's it.
Well, the next card is one card that is one way of spending Cannonballs, and that's Chainshot Cannon. Spend 1 Cannonball from hand, discard 1 card from rival's hand, and 3 from rival's deck. So it's discard 4 cards.
God, I can't believe it's supposed to be an emerald. Like, what a joke. Why was this an emerald?
I already play this card.
I was going to say, yeah, you already... Full disclosure, Musher and myself have recorded a video of Miracle Ariane versus Mil Ozan, and it's going to be uploaded tonight on my channel. And yeah, he runs Chainshot Cannon, Ghost Ship, Pete. What else? There's something else, wasn't there?
Ghost Ship.
Oh yeah, just all the discard you can think of, and Gold Steel, and see how it does against the deck that draws the most. And yeah, some quite funny results.
Any combo deck.
Yeah.
Just any combo deck, you win. Anything else, you lose, and you feel miserable about it, and it's horrible. You might as well just like concede the game as soon as you realise it's not combo.
That was with cards before the nerf, so this deck that he's created is going to get even better because Chainshot Cannon's better. So what do you think about the new Chainshot Cannon?
What do I think?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's better than it was before, but aside from that, it's still not very good. So I think we can briefly cover why discarding 3 random cards from your rival's deck isn't very good. It's good in Musher's deck, which runs like every single discard that there could possibly be, and like then your deck's probably quite good against Miracle Ariane and any other combo deck as you just mentioned. But at the end of the day, discarding 3 random cards is almost comparable to spend 1 Cannonball, do completely nothing.
Yeah.
Like it's not quite that, but it's almost that. The thing is, like, unless you're going to discard from their deck an enormous number of cards, like, for example, Fell Reaver in Hearthstone or you know, something like that, then, like, it has almost no impact because you could just assume that those 3 cards would be on the bottom of their deck and they were never going to see them anyway. And the 3 cards you remove just bring the 3 cards underneath them further up to the top, which they're now more likely to see. So it doesn't, like, and sometimes you'll hit, like, Earth Blast and out of their deck and that'll feel pretty good. But if you don't hit Earth Blast, you've just made it more likely that they'll draw Earth Blast. So it is almost exactly comparable to spend 1 Cannonball from hand and do nothing. So the fact that it now discards a card from the rival's hand is like a bit of extra added value that it did kind of need. At least it does something now. Because for new players playing their basic cards, because they don't have any other cards, like this card is like you're setting up your Cannonball synergy to effectively then just not do anything, which is Chainshot Cannon. But I think like it's okay to have bad cards in the game, and there's that learning curve. You have to, like, all card games are fun because you have to work out which decks are good, and a part of working out which decks are good is working out which cards are good. And you have to, like, once you go through that, oh, Chainshot Cannon's not actually helping me here. Let me take that out and put in Scorpion because that's clearly a better card and it's actually going to do something useful.
Yeah.
And then like I think it's important to have this in the game because it's you need bad cards for the learning curve.
So, I think all of these changes collectively, like all of the potion changes as as one group and all of the private changes as another group, they are helping fill 2 niches, a lot better than they were done.
Yep.
If you know what I mean, like,
I agree.
You kind of, everything to do with those themes is actually becoming more flavorful. And, I like that. I think, the themes seemed a bit bare and like there wasn't really anything there before, whereas now this is a step in the right direction.
Yeah, bang on. You got that bang on. I really like the changes they got, and I'm looking forward to seeing what new proposals they've got next week.
And I don't think that these changes are supposed to be pushing the power curve. They're just like changes to really some of the worst cards in the game to make them a bit more palatable. They're still bad, but they're not supposed to be pushing the power curve and being really good cards.
Yeah.
So the changes are good. I approve of all the changes. I think they're all very good changes because they're making really terrible cards like not as bad, and that's the direction it ought to be going. Like you shouldn't have to open up a pack and then get what used to be an Emerald Chain Shot Cannon and think, oh, well, this pack was good. Well, no, it wasn't, Kappa. Anyway, what's next then?
Right, so we're going on to a couple of Ozan cards, actually. I'm going to get these up at the same time as well. And that's Bandit King and Smuggler. So Bandit King was a steel up to one weapon durability, one weapon attack and durability. And now it's steal a 1/1 from their weapon, so effectively the same thing, but also steal a 1 gold. Smuggler was steal 3 cost, steal up to 3 weapon attack from rival. Now it's 2 cost, and it's steal up to 3 weapon attack from rival, same as before. Or if that doesn't work, gain 3 temporary attack. So
so which one do you want to talk about first?
Let's go Bandit King. Bandit King first.
Okay. So one thing I want to clarify, because I'm not certain if it's true, but it says steal effectively, you steal 1/1 from rival's weapon. Yeah. So because you're stealing durability, by the sounds of it, you don't actually need to have a weapon for that to trigger. So it's kind of like South Sea Pillager in the sense that when you kill it, you'll always have a 1/1 weapon.
I think you do. Anything,
well, you think
the fact that it says steal means you need
steal means you have to have it.
Yeah, but you're stealing durability, so
but you can't add durability to a weapon you don't have.
Yeah, but you technically always have a 0/0 weapon equipped as part of the game.
Because you don't.
You do.
No, you don't.
You always have a 0/0 weapon equipped. I've seen a glitch where that shows up in the weapon slot. It's always there. I don't. Anyway, the point is we're arguing about something we don't even know. And you might be right, but then again, there's a chance I could be as well. I really like some clarification on this, but. If you do get a 1/1 weapon every single time you kill it, that's really good. And if you don't, then fine. Your weapon gets a bit bigger if you happen to have like your Scarabite Assassin weapon. I think Scarabite Assassin might need a bit of a buff. Not that Bandit King is the card to improve that particular one, but if you get a 1/1 weapon, that's great. Maybe there'll be some more uses for it. But this is effectively like if you do get to steal a weapon, that's really strong. But it's almost always a 5/3, and it gives you 3 gold. So that's not too bad, right? Like it's certainly another gold stealing option that he has, and it's certainly better than the card that existed before. So
it's a nice little grief card for Ozan. It will always, most of the time it'll steal a gold, and then it could that 1/1 can really trip up a lot of decks. To be fair,
if you have you could steal their Slime Toes or Tormented Demon weapon, potentially. I don't think it will happen often.
What do you think, Musher?
I think Bandit King depends a decent amount on how exactly the steal works.
Yeah.
With the weapon, to be honest, because if you can use it as like a tiny bit of reach and you steal gold, it's not too bad. But
aside from
that's
that,
not possible then.
I think this is comparable, as TJ Scouser points out. This is basically a slightly better Skeleton Warrior. Has 1 extra attack, but instead of being a 3 gold swing in your direction, is actually a 4 gold swing because you get 3 gold and they lose 1. But it does have the condition of them actually having to have gold. So sometimes when they don't, it'll just be 2 gold and it'll be worse than Skeleton Warrior. But it's certainly interesting. I like that about it. But the more interesting card, I think, is Smuggler down here.
Yes, and I think this is a very nice change because at least now
I
it's
really
playable.
like Smuggler.
Do you guys want to go?
Go on, Musher, you start us off.
Right. So if you needed some form of temp attack, and for some reason you didn't want to play Numb, maybe you don't want to give your opponent gold, and Dagannoth Sentinel wasn't good enough. Dagannoth Fledgling wasn't enough reach. Maybe this is an option. I think I'd rather just play weapon, but at least now, like you say, it's playable. If you're in a weapon-based deck, you might consider it if the meta gets very weapon injury, because then you can get rid of part of their weapon and buff yours. I think it's a good. Yeah, I think it's a good change. I don't know if they'll see play, but it's certainly a lot better than it used to be.
I think it'll be a decent card in Dungeoneering, definitely.
It'll be much better there.
Yeah. Whether it's good enough to make the cut in Constructed, I think maybe early on, like newer players, yes. Maybe not necessarily at the top. I don't know. What do you think?
I think okay. So the original Smuggler as a value proposition, 3 gold for steal 3 weapon attack is
rubbish.
If you actually do get to steal 3 weapon attack, I think even if you did, it's a bit on the expensive side. But the problem was that you could never consistently do that, right? Because you'd have to have a weapon yourself. They would have to have a weapon. You would then have to have 3 gold as well. Then you would steal 3 weapon attack. And now that your weapon's buffed, you now also have to have something to use the weapon on in a meaningful way, whether that be a strike or a big creature, whatever it is. You have to have all of those things line up at the same time for the original Smuggler to be good. That is not consistent at all, ever. You'll never get all of those conditions to work out. And as a result of that, why would you ever put it in a deck? You have the choice of what cards go in your deck. The new Smuggler, though, offers a bit more consistency. If they don't happen to have a weapon, you still get 3 temporary attack, meaning you can actually plan an agenda around that. You can actually, safely go into the next thing, knowing that if it didn't work out, if they didn't have a weapon, you don't steal anything. You still have that safety net of 3 temporary attack. And I think actually the card could be really, really strong in an aggro deck. There is potential there. I don't necessarily think it will see play, but
I was going to say, Chat has actually pointed out here that Mithril Arrows is one cost, gain 3 temporary attacks. So effectively, so effectively you're paying 1 extra gold to potentially steal 3 weapon attack.
Yeah, I was going to come on to that actually. So I'm really glad. I'm really glad you brought it up. I think that's a very interesting thing about the card. It's actually very comparable to Mithril Arrows. But I'll finish what I was saying.
Yeah, go for it.
And it is that, if you do play this in place of Mithril Arrows, which for some reason we're running in your deck, then stealing 3 weapon attack in an aggro deck could be really good because, maybe they do equip a Slime Toes weapon, maybe they do equip a TD weapon, and then suddenly they don't have that weapon attack on the Slime Toes. They go into whatever creature it was without the weapon attack. They take a bunch of damage fighting the thing that had the weapon attack on it, because they no longer they have to face tank it, right? They don't have that big weapon, and then you've just got 3 extra weapon attack. And then maybe you play Wilderness and smash them with that, right? So it's a double whammy. You're doing 3 extra damage, and they're doing damage to themselves potentially because of the Greek. So there is certainly that. The question is, though, and as I mentioned, I'm glad you brought it up, is that this is one more expensive than Mithril Arrows. Would it be worth paying that extra? Because if you don't hit a weapon, it's just a very expensive Mithril Arrows. And Mithril Arrows as a card, when you compare it to Bouncer or when you compare it to a Crawling Hand, I don't think it hits that's not strong enough. So I think that's certainly worth thinking about. But in a world where Mithril Arrows is good, Smuggler could be good too.
I think it's 3-card combo magical Christmas land time. So you go Ugthanki into Smuggler into Kedzek. They tank a Jad and you win the game.
Oh yes,
that sounds good to me.
Oh baby. I love that combo. Right.
So,
that's a good way to end that one, I think. But yeah, it's two decent changes. They're definitely improvements on the cards. Right. Now we're going into the 3 nerfs that have been proposed and confirmed. First of all, Afflicted.
Nerf heals, buff Zir. I think that's all I need to say.
That's an old meme. That is a very old meme.
This has gone. Oh my god, the double heal. I managed to win a game the other day. I was aggro Veniscula against some sort of sustainy thing. And I managed to win because I played Afflicted, slot 4, going first, slot 4, and hit their Jad.
Yeah, and then you heal for 30.
Max heal, thank you very much.
Yeah, what do you guys think of the change? Because I saw quite a lot of controversy about this. Not necessarily from in aggregate, but I saw a couple of people saying, "Oh, this change makes it no good. It's really bad now." And I don't know. I was really, really surprised that they have that attitude. I don't know if that was the general consensus in aggregate. I don't think it was, but the fact that there were a few individuals taking the time to write out, effectively thought out posts to complain about the Afflicted nerf, I thought was surprising. What do you guys make of this?
I still think it's playable. Like,
Yeah.
if you're in a deck that maybe can't reliably kill colors, then this is great, right? Like, you're guaranteed 2 on average. You're probably getting a minimum of 5.
Yeah, it's not that much worse than the old Fledgling, right? And it's certainly, like, compared to Amscat Mystic, very similar, I think, even with this new one. What do you think, Len?
I think people have just been spoilt for too long with the original version.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, if you compare it to that, yeah, of course, it's a trash card in comparison, but you've got to think of it almost, this is a new card. Forget about the original. Look at this card in itself.
The double is
as
ridiculous.
Musher said, yeah, doubles are broken. We've gone through that.
Yeah, it was.
Go for it.
To get really upset about it. So I can't believe that this was even printed to begin with. It was such horseshit how you would heal for ×2 off a creature, and that was what single-handedly made Aggro Venescula push stuff like the mid-range Hopesan out of the deck, out of the metagame, right? Because now, I can just fucking slam down Afflicted and heal for 24 off your Ket deck. Like, what a load of fucking bullshit. Like, I was playing it, like, back when Aggro Venescula first got popular. I thought, right, what counters this deck? And I built a Raptor deck. I built an aggro Raptor deck. Now that sounds ridiculous, right? But hear me out, okay? We had Scorpions, Troll Chuckers, Goblin Brutes, all the things you'd expect. But we also had Rock Crabs, Armored Zombies, Anticipation, and back then Fledgling existed as well. The deck was just like damage on one side, sustain on the other, and it was so efficient. Like, against any aggro deck, it would win all of the time. In the same way that Aggro Venescula has like Gorge and a health swing in both directions is very good. Like this particular Raptor deck was like against any aggro deck, it was like really good. You deal some damage and then you heal for like 6, so you were consistently dealing damage and healing. So that was really good as a combo. But then playing against Aggro Venescula, right? She plays fucking Afflicted and then heals for 14 off a Krazian or 12 off a Troll Chuck. And you're just like, fuck you. I'm playing like honest cards here. I'm playing like Armored Zombie and Rock Crab, which actually heal for like, that's a meaningful amount of health gain. And then you just cheat with this retarded Afflicted card that heals for ×2. Like, what a load of bullshit. Like, I don't understand how anyone can get upset about the change to this.
No,
this is what
it had to come in. Change had to come in.
So here's the thing, right? Even if you didn't hit a large creature, which, let's be honest, this should be something that you either get a small heal or you time it right, you get a huge heal off a Jard, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But even if they only played a 2 or 3 AP creature, you got either a 6 or 8 heal.
Yeah,
like
which is a good heal, like, very good heal.
It's so dumb.
There was no skill in this card, basically.
You'd always get good value, and even when it like hits KGP agent, they heal for fucking 4. Like,
It's
I've lost games to that before. Like,
unless you're against Miracle Ariane, worst case, it's going to be a cabbage.
Yeah, it made Aggro Venescula very, very good because that deck's already very good because of all the damage it has access to and the consistency of the deck because of so many 3 AP creatures and so many ways to get your base attack up via KGP agents and worthy opponents and all of those things. And then you just slam 2 of these in there and then you don't need any other heals. And then like if you do happen to be low on life against somebody running a Ketzek or something like you just are laughing. Like it was so busted. I'm glad they've changed this.
Yeah.
I mean, the other thing was, like, you went something like Worthy Opponent, Ogre Chieftain, Darok, and then the next chapter, I'll just play Afflicted. Or maybe you don't even have the Worthy Opponent. You take 20, Darok, and then play Afflicted. You know what I mean? Like
I've actually taken 6 off Afflicted before, like to kill it. Like you 2-hit kill the Afflicted. You take 6. Because you're going first and you have like 7 lives. So you tank yourself down to 1 life and then heal for some ridiculous amount.
Yeah.
And that's
worst case scenario, you lose 2 because they play KGP agent. And that's the worst case scenario.
Yeah. Well, worst case is they don't play any card at all and you only get 2 life. But yeah, KGP
that's very
agent,
unlikely,
it's still cabbage, right? Like it's still and that's I'm glad they changed it. I think we've covered that now.
Yeah, it's definitely a good change. The other change is... Well, actually, the other 2 changes will also affect the Aggro Venescula deck. This one is Firewatch. So it's been toned down, so it now steals 4 health instead of 5. And I think that's a fair enough change. I not got a problem with this at all.
Yeah. What do you think, Musher?
It's a pretty simple change, really, isn't it? It's just
Yeah.
a slight tone down, you know. Like, I'm glad to see that. We'll see what happens if it still sees play. I'd still play it currently. Like, I think it's still, you know,
Yeah.
it's still in the health, life swing, and the discard. So
So in my current aggro Venescula deck, I'm not a believer of running 2 Gorge, 2 Firewatch, even with the old Firewatch, because I don't think you can, like, the games usually end before you'll get all of the gold to play all of it.
I ran
actually
just
run
one, to be honest.
I run
same.
2 Gorge and 1 Firewatch.
It looks like we all do the same.
Yeah. And okay, I'm glad you do that. I'm either way. I was going to make an aggro Venescula deck guide eventually, and I'll explain exactly why that is in the deck guide. But if you look at this, it was a 10 life swing. It's now an 8 life swing, so that's what, a 28% nerf.
Yep.
Effectively, Firewatch was always really quite good because you didn't need to. It doesn't have the condition of them being mortal.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, Gorge would. Oh, sorry, of you being mortal. So Gorge has that condition. You can't always play it, whereas Firewatch you could always play. And yeah, what does Gorge do? It does 6 damage, doesn't it?
6 damage when you're mortal.
Yeah, and when Firewatch only costs 1 more and 1 more gold, and like you don't need to be like. There were aggro Venescula decks where I didn't run Gorge at all. I just ran 2 Firewatch because I never could consistently get my health down that low. So because I didn't like all of the mortal effects, but that was in a time before the current aggro Venescula was figured out. So my line of thought was no good. But anyway, yeah, it's not that much of a nerf. I still think it's very good, particularly because this card doesn't require you to be mortal. And I think the thing everybody forgets about is that discard that comes with it, and that can be pretty good too sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, free summon it up in the chat. It's a strong card, and because it's unconditional, with a bounce.
A bounce of beneficial effects. I wonder how many that is.
Exactly. It's just got useful stuff written on it, right? Like help swing in both directions. So it's got a heal written on it. It's got damage written on it. It's got a discard written on it. You don't have to be mortal. Just the whole card was really good. I think the change to it makes sense.
Yeah.
Go on. Okay, go ahead.
No, go
on.
I
was going to say I wouldn't necessarily have been surprised for them to just leave it as it was, but increase it to 6 gold either. I think that would have been a fine nerf too.
Yeah, you can go. You could have gone either way with this one, I think. So yeah, I'm happy with this. Now the last.
Or maybe even just get rid of the discard. You know.
Yeah, there's that.
I like it having the discard because it kind of makes it stand out.
Yeah, I've grown affectionate towards the discard. I don't know why. Like it just feels like an unnecessary extra effect that's like increasing the cost of the card for no reason.
There's certain games where like you'll play because you want the health, and suddenly you just get rid of their last cully.
It's like great. Other aggro decks, and even in the mirror, this card was really good because, again, aggro decks versus aggro decks, and particularly aggro Venescula vs aggro Venescula. Sometimes there would be situations where, when played optimally, you would choose not to play your Krasian Warrior because, it's just a race to see who can kill the other person the fastest, and Krasian Warrior is just slowing you down. And instead of drawing 2 extra cards, just rely on the 3 that you're going to draw at the start of the next chapter, right? So in a world where you're not playing your Krasian Warrior, if you're able to discard a card from their hand, that's resources coming out of their hand, and that's valuable in the mirror matchup. If you can just reduce their odds of getting their combos off, for example, Rowdy Cannoneer and Barker Toad, or just giving them less resources generally. Instead of playing a 3-card chapter, they play a 2-card chapter or something like that. That puts you a whole slot ahead. So I think it was just a really strong card, and it's been toned down a bit, so that's nice.
Yeah.
Is it still better than Toric? That's a good question.
Is it still better than what?
Is it still better than Toric? Somebody asks.
Ooh, that's
so
very
interesting.
I think it is. I think it is. No, you're not though, because
it is health damage as opposed to
better. Yeah,
health damage.
And then you could argue armor can sometimes be better, so it kind of works both ways.
Yeah, sometimes you'll be at full life and it won't work.
Yeah, whereas Doric would work. I was
going to say the most. To be honest, I think Firewatch will still see play, and I don't think Doric will. So that's answering the question.
I think it sees play as one of Firewatch. I don't think you're going to play 2 of them. Then again, like we all kind of agreed, none of us really played 2 of them to begin with. Mm-hmm. Some people did. I just found it was too much gold.
Well, you could run 2 Firewatch and 1 Gorge. I think that's a completely fine deck configuration. But with the aggro Venescula mirror kicking around when everybody thought that aggro Venescula was the strongest deck out there, then Gorge was better.
Yep.
But and then like what decks came about? Honest Raptor, that did no damage to you at all. So you would you'd be happily going into Mortal. You wouldn't be worried at all. So Gorge was just a better card there as well, and that's probably why. But like if Firewatch was left as it is, I think it's perfectly in some metas perfectly viable deck configuration to have 2 Firewatch, 1 Gorge rather than 2 Gorge, 1 Firewatch. But
yeah, it's better in a Miracle Ariane meta, I think.
Yeah.
To run 2 Firewatch.
Yeah, because you don't want to tank your life.
Yeah.
I think that's completely true. Well, I was going to say, what's the next card? We spent quite a long time on Firewatch.
Well, we've got probably the one that's been the most controversial change out of the lot, and it's the last card we're going to go through, and it's Rowdy Cannoneer.
Yeah, that has been controversial. In a similar vein to why Afflicted was nerfed, I find this surprising as well. But go ahead. What do you think?
This, first of all, it had to be something changed about it. We had Mod Markaza on. It was probably about a month and a half, 2 months ago now, and he hit the nail on the head when we were talking about the strength of aggro and Escular, and he'd identified Rowdy Cannoneer, Barkatoad as a combo that was too easy to pull off, didn't need any setup really, for too much damage too quickly. And
well, this
Rowdy
is supposed to be in the
did
pirate deck, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
But it's not. Because it's just so good on its own.
Yeah,
it's the only card you would need to activate the Barkatoad as a Rowdy Cannoneer.
Yeah,
it's like the old Lady's Ear.
Yeah, it's got to the point, this card, where if you want to build an aggro deck, the first 2 cards you put in are Rowdy Cannoneer and Barkatoad. I don't think that's necessarily good. But so yeah, Rowdy Cannoneer just did too much. You mentioned earlier, in itself 4 damage in a slot without any setup. That's decent.
Yeah, it's almost Haunted Soul level good, right?
It's a little bit of hand grief for your opponent. That's decent. Plus, then the cannonball you're giving yourself that you can use to, and now with all the buffs coming in, you can use to spend in so many different ways. Oh no, I'm not something else. No, but
you're thinking of potions.
Yeah, I'm thinking of potions. Whoops. But you can spend it on the Barkatoad. So it's doing 3 really good things. So taking one of them away like they have, I'm okay with that.
I'd have liked to have seen it changed in a different way. I'd have liked to have seen the cannonball kept and the damage and stat lines changed.
Okay. Or like a 2/2 deal 1 damage, add a cannonball to both players' hand or something.
Maybe 2/3 or 2/4 to be honest. Like, or even keep this a 2/5 and make it like deal 2 damage, add 1 cannonball.
So it would still be a good card in specific decks, like combat.
Exactly, yeah.
But you wouldn't just run it as a damage card.
Or you could make the 4 damage to both of you because, cannons have a recoil. Mm-hmm. However, then it's better in Vinescular, so that's not a nerf at all. That just makes the deck better. So while on surface that would kind of work, in practice that wouldn't work. In my opinion, anyway.
What about you, Interjection? What do you think?
I'm just trying to collect my thoughts on this. I'm just reading Freeb saying they took it the wrong way, and I don't necessarily think. I like the fact. Okay, so let's start with 2-card combos, right? In my experience, 2-card combos have always been very janky. They've always been like just awkward to pull off. When you pull them off, they're good, but otherwise just difficult and awkward. And like Rowdy Cannoneer was facilitating Barkatoad. Now Barkatoad is costed as this 1 gold. Deal 7, which is exceptional as a damage card. If you look at all the damage cards that there are, like Scorpion, Wind Strike,
New and Stable Concoction,
they're all like very mild kind of damage. But 1 gold for 7 is really exceptional, and Rowdy Cannoneer was enabling that in a way that it shouldn't have been. The drawback of Barkatoad, and if you notice in Chronicle, every card seems to have a drawback or some kind of condition written on it. At least most cards do anyway. Yeah. It was just like there wasn't really that condition of needing a cannonball on the Barkatoad wasn't an issue at all, because to get the cannonball, all you'd have to do is play a card that was effectively good on its own. 4 damage on its own is pretty fine, and then the cannonball is, given that it also gives your opponent 1, is the hand grief that you mentioned. Yeah, I think like it was making Barkatoad way too strong, and Yeah, instead of nerfing Barker-Toad, I feel like you make Barker-Toad's condition, which was always supposed to be a bit hard. It was always like you need the cannonball. Like now you have to find a different way to get the cannonball, and I think that's really like what Barker-Toad should have always been. Like,
Yes, I think that's what
you
it was
should have this
intended
really
to be.
big payout. Yeah, it should have a big payout if you're able to get the cannonball, and Rowdy Cannoneer made that too easy. So I think like taking that off the Rowdy Cannoneer is a good thing. I think, like, yeah, maybe we could have done what Musher is saying and left the cannonball on and adjusted some other stuff on it. But then you still leave that 2-card combo intact. I don't really want that 2-card combo to be intact. I don't think that was healthy for the game. I think the Barker-Toad should have to be activated by getting a cannonball by some means. And I don't think Rowdy Cannoneer was the healthy way to get the cannonball.
I'll be honest, I'd have also toned down Barker-Toad though. I'd have made like Barker-Toad 6, taken 2 off the Rowdy Cannoneer, and then suddenly, you're 3 damage less, which, suddenly that's 1.5 damage less per slot, which is, so you've gone from 5.5 to 4, which is
Quite
nearly a third.
enough.
Is that a quarter? It's too late. My maths is.
It's just over a quarter.
It's just over a quarter, isn't it? Yeah. Which is a substantial amount taken off.
Just reading Freeb's comment, yes, but different ways to find a cannonball don't really do significant work to kill your opponent. As such, I think it hurts the cannonball damage deck ideas way more than
But what is a cannonball
What's
damage,
a cannonball damage deck?
Right?
That doesn't exist.
It's just aggro Venescula with 2 cards in it from the Pirate Cannonball deck, which isn't a deck, just in it, right? Like I feel like
it
that
used to be a deck, and then the nerf's here, so maybe we should book there again.
No, I don't want you anywhere near the number 1 spot in the leaderboard, so no.
I'll be honest, I don't think that would happen. I think washed up player, but
Okay, so Free, the point I'm making is that I think I think Barker-Toad is fairly costed given how difficult it should be to get a cannonball.
Yes.
But get it, and how like expensive it should be to get a cannonball. Like you're saying, oh, but all of the other ways to get cannonballs don't really do any work. They don't help you deal damage to your opponent. Yeah, rightly so, because Barker-Toad's so
does enough.
strong, right? One gold for 7 damage is crazy.
The one I was thinking of, potentially, if you just want to go for a direct replacement in Aggro Venescula, because you won't have the damage in the slot, but it's something that could trip up your opponent, is I think it's South Sea Pillager, where is that steel gold and add cannonballs?
Yeah, add 2 cannonballs.
no, you mean Saucy Wednesday?
I always get it the wrong way around.
Yeah, they're both still gold. It's easy to get marbled out. But one steals 1 gold. I think it actually says lose 1 gold. It's not actually steal, but and it gives you 2 cannonballs.
So one of those. So that is one of those cards could. So it means that Aggro Venescula isn't so one-dimensional, just going straight for health, etc. It can also trip your opponent up. So I think the nerf in the damage, although it's losing 4 damage, 8 damage out of the deck in total, I still think Aggro Venescula is still going to be strong.
Will be fine.
Yeah, it's still going to be strong.
She'll just take I think what she'll probably do is what she'll do is probably just take Rowdy Cannoneer and Barker-Toad out, put Scorpions in, and maybe like Flying Leech as well, which is that 1/3 steal 2 life, right? I think that would just be what happens, and that's I think like what ought to happen. My position on this is that Barker-Toad is really strong, and the reason it should be so strong is because it has that condition of getting a cannonball. And getting the cannonball requires slowing down and not dealing damage. And Rowdy Cannoneer was just not that at all. It was just a good card, and then Barker-Toad on top of it, which is But I think that's all there is to say about.
Well, I was going to say there was one. Yeah, there's one
cyclical.
Yeah,
discuss the same thing.
One thing that would be interesting just to ask your 2 thoughts on, and I want to start with you, Musher. What do you think about Zay at the moment? And how would you change it if you could?
I think that is an interesting related discussion. Go ahead, Musher.
I think they needed to either leave it at 3 damage per cannonball and take off the 3 damage, or make it 2 damage plus 2 per cannonball. I think just getting rid of toning it down per cannonball and getting rid of the flat damage made it far too bad as a card.
Yep.
I'd like to see 0 damage base with 3 per cannonball. I think that would be fine. Yes, you can potentially do 30 on average. You're doing like 12 max, right? You're probably doing 9 to 12 damage. unless you're still running both Pipes Hideouts, both Saucy Wench Deckhands, and both Ready Cannoneers.
It would bring that deck back. I think just removing the 3 base from what it was originally, I still think we would have that as a problem. But I agree that they've over nerfed it.
I think
honestly, maybe make it 2+2.
Yeah,
would be better because then it's better with a smaller amount of cannonballs and worse with a larger amount. So your kind of range of damage is lowering, which I think is fine. Yes, a 2+2, I'd probably make it, in all honesty.
Yeah.
What about you,
so TJ Scouser just reminded me actually of an idea I had for Ladies A a while ago, which was just keep it the same as it always was, right? Deal 3 damage plus 3 more damage for each cannonball in hand, and that you discard all your cannonballs. But the thing here that makes it balanced is that you should also have to spend pirates, right? Because a ship needs a crew. Ladies A is a ship, so maybe you should have to spend 2 pirates, maybe 3. I don't know how many. I haven't play tested it. But spend some pirates along with the cannonball. So what it does there is it caps your hand size because you have to have the pirates to spend as well. So the max cannonballs you could possibly have is 6 because you'd have to have. So you have Ladies A in hand, 3 pirates, so that's 4 slots, and now you've got 6 cannonballs, right? That's the most you could get, and then you spend your pirates as well. So basically, it puts Ladies A into this unique spot where it's in a deck that is, a pirate themed deck, which is where I feel it ought to be, given that it's a fucking ship to do with cannonballs and stuff like that. Where it actually makes that deck like a deck, and I feel like that's what ought to have been done to it. That's my opinion on Ladies A. I do agree with Musher here that the current one is not good enough. 2 damage per cannonball is just not worthwhile, given that Barker Toad exists, and if you have the cannonballs, Sticky Sanders. I think everyone's forgetting that exists as well. Maybe you'll run your Barker Toads and you'll run your Saucy Wench Deckhands, and then you can run 4 damage, deal 4 damage card that spends a cannonball, and it draws itself. It's effectively 1 draw as well, which is actually pretty nice. So I do think cannonballs are still going to be in a good spot. There's that.
I remember when you first suggested that.
In particular, this 2-card combo was too strong in my opinion. But I think as I just mentioned, Sticky Sanders exists, and I really like the fact that you like my my pirates.
But I think overall, with the 3 changes to Aggro Venescular, I think we were all in agreement that Aggro Venescular as a deck is still going to be one of the strongest. I think it's still going to be a really good deck. So I think they've done well with these nerfs. They've toned down these 3 cards. The deck's not dead. I think that's good.
Do you mind if I bring something up now?
Go for it.
This is all of the changes we've had for this week.
Yes.
They haven't announced next week's changes yet, right?
No, they're going to announce them on Monday.
What would you like to see changed?
Ooh.
There's a lot of cards that need changing. I could list. If I looked at the game, I could make you a big list of cards. So I can't really pick any off the top of my head.
Pick one each.
I'll pick one. My favorite card in the game is Unholy Cursebearer, so I'd like to see that made playable.
For me, although I did a video on it and I said it was okay, I've kind of tweaked my thoughts. I would quite like Pete not to lose its discard 3, but to have its attack increased to potentially 6. Just want to make it more punishing to play early on.
6. I think 8. I just think it should have Daganov Sentinel stats, but
potentially,
I like.
Actually, yeah.
Yeah, just make it an 8/9 like Dag Sentinel and discard 3.
Yeah, so that way it can't completely cripple your opponent early on, and you've really got to build up for it to gain its good effect.
I mean, you could cripple them early on, but it'd be a big health.
It would be very punishing.
And if Ariane happens to have the Earth Blast and you don't discard it, or she top decks it and she has the gold for it, you've just taken how much damage from tank? I think it just needed to be more punishing. At the moment, it's not very punishing. But I'm glad you mentioned that. I think that's absolutely a card that needs changing. Maybe I should have picked a card that needs changing. Unholy Curse Bearer is not really a big issue, so I'm gonna change my card. But
it's cheating.
Well,
go on. What is it?
I have 2, so both of them are nerfs. So if you want to say your nerf first, it might be one of the 2 I was going to say.
Go on, Interjection. What was yours?
I was thinking this before Freeb said it, but I do think Ogre Warlord is like a card that probably needs looking at, and Green Dragon.
Yeah. I think we're all in agreement. Hard counters need changing.
Yeah, but like the second you get rid of that, I wonder how good Armor Raptor is. It's a really interesting thing to think about, and maybe I'll do a video on that particular topic. But I do think, destroying all your rivals' armor is a bit silly. But is that all of the cards? Was that our
Yeah,
ending?
that's all of them. Before we finish, Musher, what were your 2 cards?
Ice Nihil and Clairvoyance.
You think Clairvoyance is too strong? Really?
Oh god, I knew this was coming.
I'd like to see it made to like half +1 or something.
Really?
I think that, yeah.
I don't think it's. I think half the time it's only slightly better than everyone wants to see.
I think she should have.
Like, by the end of the game, by like chapter 4 or 5, like it's where it's going to be really, really good. It's you want to be killing them at that point anyway. So.
Yeah, but my issue with it is I think it should really punish you if you're at 8 or 9 base. But if you're at 4 or 5 base, you know your base attack isn't super high, and it's still enough for them to suddenly just pull an Earth Wave out of nowhere.
What if they wrote like spend 1 base attack on it as a way to make it work?
I think that makes it either too good or too bad, depending on the deck.
I think that would make it worse by a long way because it means now like Penguin Sheep's Yeah, I don't know.
Is it bad that you can't run Penguin Sheep though? Because
you
could just play Clairvoyances later on, and you don't have creatures in your deck.
There's not
enough. I think we're floating off topic here. Maybe Clairvoyance could be changed, but I don't know. I don't necessarily think it does. If anything, maybe Earth Blast needs to be made more expensive, or maybe
don't
that's
you touch my miracle deck.
Maybe Penguin Sheep and 50 ships need to be touched on. Maybe Clairvoyance isn't the issue there, but who knows? It could be the issue. Certainly at the moment, Ariane has an access to a lot of gold, and as a result of that, double Earth Blast for 12 gold is not very difficult to get up to. And I think like Musher raises an interesting point there. But I think that is us done for the day, right?
Yeah, no.
We get any topic.
Thank you for being patient with us because of the technical difficulties earlier on. I'm going to go and write a very strongly worded email to my internet service provider because they're pieces of shit.
Well, before you do that, you're going to put this on YouTube.
Yes, I'm going to go and upload this straight to YouTube. So
I'll put a link to. Yeah, thank you very much for watching, everybody. I'm stealing Glenn's line here, but I'm going to post a link to my Chronicle YouTube channel as well as the Friends of Al-Kharid channel, where you will find this podcast uploaded promptly. And if you maybe you tuned in halfway through, or you want to catch all of it or watch it again because I don't know who would want to do that, but I will put that link into the chat. So thank you very much for watching, everybody. Glenn, do you have any last words?
Yes, I just want to thank you very much, Musher, for joining us. Hope you enjoyed it. Where can we find you?
You can find me either on Discord under Musher, or I also write articles for a Chronicle site, so you can find me on strategysalad.wordpress.com. I'll just put that in the chat real quick.
Excellent. Unfortunately Jag had to pull out earlier today because she wasn't very well, but she has told me she's around in 2 weeks' time, so she'll be back then. But thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
That's it from us.
Bye.
Bye.
Fuck shit cunt.